Obedience means learning to listen. Learning to listen. You know, one of the favorite bats that they use to hit Catholics over the head goes like this. Oh, it must be nice to be a Catholic because then you don't have to think anymore. You ever hear that one? Oh, I see you've become a Catholic. That means you've joined the mindless army of the Pope's robots. Nothing could be further from the truth. I've had to think more as a Catholic and work out more problems as a Catholic than ever before. And obedience does not actually mean being a mindless robot. Obedience to the church, obedience to the scriptures, does not mean being a mindless robot. Instead, the actual root of the word obedience is the Latin word obedere, which means to listen. That's why the first words of St. Benedict's rule are, "Listen, my son, to the words of the Master." So therefore, obedience means that we have to develop a listening heart. You know the old saying, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, was listen twice as much as we speak. And it's true. We learn to listen with our heart. Do we have a problem with the church's teachings? Don't reject it. Please don't reject it. Who are you to reject it? What do you know? What do I know? Listen, my son, to the words of the Master. However, if you do have problems with the church's teaching, maybe of artificial contraception and sterilization or politics or the death penalty or money or whatever, you listen carefully and you seek to understand. You struggle to understand in order to apply your mind and your heart to listen with fullness to what God is trying to say. Now, this listening attitude is actually very positive. Because what it means is the person who's really listening is a person who's really learning. A person with truly open ears truly has an open heart and an open mind. This is not dull, robotic obedience, guys. This is really an open-hearted, curious, creative, dynamic approach to life, where you're listening and curious and alert to all of God's goodness, all of God's beauty, all of God's truth, coming at you all the time, through the church, through the scriptures, through your love, through your family, through your joys, through your sorrows, through the world around you, through all the money you have, all the money you don't have. Whatever it is, God's speaking. God is speaking. And very often He speaks in a whisper. Or He speaks in a riddle. He speaks in a mystery. And it really takes a lot of time and energy and thought to figure it out. This is the attitude that Benedict is trying to inspire in his monks with the idea of obedience. To listen carefully to God. Now, part of this is actually that at the beginning of the rule, St. Benedict demands military-type obedience from his monks. If the abbot says, jump, you say how high. When the bell rings for chapel, you put down your tools and you go to chapel. How many of you have this one at home? Remember it at home. It's dinner time. No response. It's dinner time. No response. Dinner's on the table. No response. You go to the rec room. Guys, turn off the PlayStation and come and get the dinner your mom's cooked for you. No response. Do you want supper or not? Be there in a minute. Okay? Benedict wouldn't put up with that. Okay? It's instant obedience. And the reason he calls for instant obedience is because he's trying to train his sons in the monastery to be soldiers for Christ. There's a military dimension to it, and military obedience is demanded. And he demands that they obey instantly. I came across a beautiful instance of this, a story of a guy who was doing some research with these medieval manuscripts. You know, in the Middle Ages, the monks were up there copying out the Bible by hand, you know, with pen and ink and vellum. And this guy's doing his research in the library. What he's doing is he's trying to discover how many pen strokes the monk can take before he has to dip his pen back in the ink. He probably got a government grant for that research. Anyhow, this is his job, right? Kind of dull, but that's what it is. So anyway, he's going through and he's figuring it all out. He's recording the statistics, and then every once in a while, someone throws him for a curveball, because he finds that every once in a while the pen is full of ink, and yet the monk puts the pen down because he can tell how the letters had dried on the manuscript. The monk has put the pen down in the middle of a pen stroke, and comes back later, picks it up, and finishes the pen stroke and continues his work. So this researcher is scratching his head. He said, well, what? Did he need a toilet or what? I mean, why did he suddenly... But this happens on a regular basis. I mean, the guy must have a better bladder control than that. So what's up? So he he said, maybe I should talk to a monk. And immediately, the Benedictine monk says, oh, I've got the answer for you. What's that? He says, in Benedict's rule, it says, as soon as the bell rings for chapel, you must put down your tools and hasten to the Lord's service. That's exactly what happened. There was some evidence.